Got tagged in the video. This comment is under a bunch of times. Thank you for tagging me. And basically it's about how in Eclipse, as that video says, Victoria kind of made an alliance with Jane to end the Cullens. It's not quite as clear cut and direct as we read it, but basically we find this information in the short Second Life of Bree Tanner. The scoop on it anyway is in Bree's book, and Bree is the newborn from Eclipse, and basically Bree overhears this conversation between Victoria and Jane. Jane actually goes to see Victoria. She finds her, and what the Volturi is supposed to be doing, right? What Jane is technically supposed to be doing is like putting a stop to what Victoria is doing, like creating a newborn army, right? Like that would be the right and correct thing to do according to Volturi rules anyway, right? But what Jane actually does is she confirms with Victoria that her plans and the newborn army, the goal is the Cullens. And she's like, we want to know your intentions, specifically if they involve a certain local clan. And Victoria's like, yes, my plans are all about them, but it's tricky. And Jane is like, yeah, we know all about that. We know all about the psychic and the mind reader. How are you doing it? And Victoria's like, I never decide to do anything. And she's like, rough but effective. Unfortunately, your period of deliberation has come to a close. And what Jane actually does is she gives Victoria leeway. And she's like, we'll give you 5 days, and if you haven't made your attack, that's it. And she's like, and if I have made my attack? And Jane is like, we'll see. I suppose that depends on how successful you are. Work hard to please us. So basically, Jane just lets Victoria go, knowing that she's after the Cullens specifically, right? And Bree knew this because she overheard. And the other part that was mentioned in that video is that Bree is relaying all of this to Edward with her thoughts, even though she doesn't say it out loud. And so Edward knows. And Edward, by the way, is the redhead. Remember, book Edward is a ginger. And so because Edward knows, that's why we see him being like, oh, like you were so close. It's a shame you didn't get here an hour earlier. And like in the movie, we hear him say like, her name was Victoria. Perhaps you knew her. So is that why Jane tortured and unalived Bree? Like, yeah, but honestly, I think she would have done that anyway, which is very sad. Poor Bree. Even though I'm not like the biggest fan of the short Second Life of Bree Tanner, I do of course feel bad for Bree. It's very sad. You know, it wasn't her fault. Yeah, Jane was definitely up to stuff, or like trying to get up to stuff, right?